Will a straight man date us?
A straight guy is dating a trans woman and he fears to be like put out there. That means that he feels like he is gay dating you. That means you should not be dating him because that means that he does not look like like you are a female.
To society, they're gonna say that's gay. No matter what it is, tends across the board. You could be the realest thing up, spring, bang. If they find you to society, you're gay.
The girls are more of sex symbols than they are anything. So a guy could like you down, bitch. He could live for you. It could give, oh my God, I love her. She's the girl for me. After he finds out you're trans, you automatically become something that he just wants to fantasize about. You're automatically a fantasy. You're no longer the girl that he thought was the girl of his dream.
But I don't think that's true. Because I've met a few guys when I was working in White Castle, and I told them, and they held my hand in public.
That's not what it's about. That's not what it's. They
but
gonna hold
someone
your
would
hand in
ask them
public.
like, yo, you know what that is? And they're like, yeah, so what? I like that person for her.
All right, guys. So we got to react to a fascinating video that I stumbled across from Turning Point UK, in which this guy is going to ask woke male students if they would date a trans woman. Now, I'm not sure about the sexuality of these students, but I mean, if they would, again, I got questions, right? I got questions. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
Hi, we're in London and we're asking men whether they would date a trans woman or not. Would you date a trans woman?
Yeah.
Okay. Why?
Good morning.
Morning to you.
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay.
Again, the follow-up question here has to be, okay, so do you consider yourself to be gay? Right? Do you consider yourself to be gay? That has to be the follow-up question, but let's see.
They're women, aren't they? Yeah.
So you're saying you would
Yes.
because that, sorry if I've heard you right, that person identifies as female.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm pretty open to date anyone, but trans women are women, so I don't see any reason why not.
So that's, I guess that's the important thing that the audience wants to know about sort of anything controversial with regards to where we're at in society, is that the majority of people say trans women, i.e. born biological men, which everyone agrees on, trans women are therefore women.
Yes.
And why is that? What makes them a woman if they're born biologically male?
They identify as a woman, you know, for whatever reason, it doesn't really matter, because if they think that, if they say that they're a woman and identify as a woman, then they are a woman. So
sorry, I understand. So it's a feeling thing, it's a personality thing, it's an identity.
It's who you are.
It's biology, isn't. So if I've got it right, biology doesn't matter.
No, biology doesn't dictate who you are. No.
Wow. Wow. Again, I just really want this guy to ask this man, like, do you like penises? Right? Just ask him straight up. Okay, like, how does that work? Okay, because do you sleep with men? Right? Like, would you date a dude as well too? Would you date an actual dude? Now, I believe he said he's open to everything, so maybe he would. But I think we need some clarification here, because again, I would love to hear whether or not these people would actually date a male, because if they say that they would date a trans woman, but they claim they're not gay, and they say that, yeah, I wouldn't date a man though, then that means that they're saying that for virtue signaling, because there's no difference between a trans woman, at least before op, pre-op, than a biological man. And this person said that the biology doesn't matter, right? So again, I just wish he was asked, one, do you consider yourself to be gay? And two, would you date an actual man, right? A man, somebody that a male that identifies as a man. Would you date that? Would you date that person?
Okay, fine. So you would, regardless of orientation, you would date a trans woman because you see them as a man or as a woman, but because you would be open to dating a woman. Okay, I have to get my rhetoric right. You would be open to dating a woman in general.
Yes.
And you see a trans woman as a woman.
Yes.
And that's based on the fact that they identify and feel like that, and it's not to do with biology and certainly not to do with surgery. You wouldn't be influenced whether they had surgery or not.
No. Yeah, it wouldn't change my mind. No.
Okay. Would you date a trans woman?
I don't think so.
Why not?
You don't think so, bruh? Again, I got questions about these guys, right? I got serious questions about these guys, okay? When somebody asks you a question like that, when you say you don't think so, that's not a good sign, right? The answer to that question, if you're straight, is no, I wouldn't, right? I would not do that, okay? But I mean, hey, you know, maybe, again, he is open to it. I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. You know, different strokes for different folks, right?
I mean, I don't think that's part of what I want to do. I don't think. I think I'm just kind of like, you know, just neutral about it and just go with my own.
Could you speak up a tiny bit?
With my opposite gender, that's about it. I think that's as far as I go.
So the way that I describe a trans woman is as a biological male.
Yeah.
So if I was to be asked that question, I would say no. And I would say no for lots of reasons. One of them is that I'm not gay. Would you date a trans woman?
Yeah.
Why?
Because although they were biologically born as a male, they're still a woman. Because they feel like a woman. So even if they change their bodies biologically, that's how they feel. So if someone's into women, they should accept dating trans women as well. I know it can be sometimes a little bit challenging, but I think it should be something that should be more normalized. And
how can you feel like a woman if, one, you can't define what a woman is, and two, you've never actually been one? Again, they say, well, if they feel like a woman, okay, well, what does a woman feel like, right? If we don't know what a woman is, we can't properly define what a woman is, then how can we define what it feels like to be a woman, right? I feel like that's a step that you can't take until you actually define what a woman is. Again, it's amazing. It's amazing.
I think it doesn't mean that you're part of like any community, and I don't think it like challenges your sexuality, and I think that's why some people have like think it's like not okay for them.
So I think two very important points. It wouldn't be homosexuality for a biological male to date a transgender woman.
I know, bruh. Again, you got some people living in Cuckoo for Cocoa Puff world. It's just not in the United States. Also, the UK. These people are indoctrinated, bruh. There's no way, bruh. He said it's not like, bro. If a biological male is having sex with a biological male, then they're gay, right? Or at the very least bisexual.
I don't think so.
And second of all, I think one of your points was it was just kind of around normalizing it and not looking at it as stereotypical or as controversial, etc. You wouldn't have an issue with a biological heterosexual male saying, no, I wouldn't. You've said you would, but you wouldn't have an issue with a heterosexual male saying no because that's a biological male.
I would respect their opinion because I know it can be like a little bit difficult for some people, but I think people have to be educated more that trans women are still women, even though if they're biologically born as a male.
So just one last point. You've mentioned a couple of times about the education piece, potentially for heterosexual males, that a trans woman is someone born a biological male is someone who identifies as a woman, and then therefore as a result of that identity, that makes them a woman. Yeah. Are you able to explain that or justify that?
Well,
other than of course they feel it.
Well, I mean, it's just you're born. Sometimes like your biological body does not define who you truly are. So when people transition to the other gender, it's not like they want to like change their gender. They're changing to become who they truly feel. So that's why I don't think when a heterosexual man dates a trans woman, it doesn't mean that they're homosexual or anything, because at the end of the day, that woman is still a woman.
Wow. Again, you got to ask the right question. This guy needs to ask this guy straight up, do you consider yourself to be gay? And then ask him, would he date a trans woman? Okay, if he says no, that he's not gay, but he would date a trans woman, then just end the interview. Walk away from the interview. There's nothing else to talk about, right? There's nothing else to discuss with this person.
Does it matter whether they've had surgery or not? So would you date a trans woman regardless of whether they've had surgery or not? Is surgery a factor at all? Because we've spoken very much about identity and personality.
Mm-hmm. Well, I personally haven't had that experience, and I don't...
But would you then?
I truly don't know. I guess sometimes that's honestly a challenging one.
If no surgery had happened, because obviously surgery often happens.
Yeah.
But with a trans woman, if no surgery had happened, so they're both a biological male, and they've chosen to not have surgery as well.
Well, one thing is choosing not to, and another thing is not being able to because they can't afford it.
Sure.
I think most, if not all, trans women, if they were able to transition, they would, but some people can't, and I think it's just.
But if they
you
hadn't,
have to be.
would that change
If
your
they
opinion?
hadn't.
Because
Well,
I'm not going to presume anyone's sexuality here, anyone we speak to today. So if they hadn't, would you still stand by that you would date a
because at the end
trans?
of the day, they're still a woman.
Because they're still a woman.
Yeah, it would be maybe a little bit more difficult, but you know, if you really love that person, you would see them for who they truly are, and not
Understood.
just their biological self.
That's
Yeah, so again, it's funny because he should ask this person, would you date a woman, right? And if he would date a woman, if he say yes with no hesitation, why would he be hesitating for a trans woman if they're actually really a woman? The hesitation here, right, tells you everything you need to know about how this person actually feels, but they don't really want to say it because if they say it, they might be seen as transphobic, right? I mean, it's just amazing kind of how this works, okay? The stigma of being labeled a transphobe makes people purposely ignore reality, right? It's just, it's crazy.
great. Would you date a trans woman?
I personally wouldn't,
Why not?
because it just goes against my beliefs, and I don't feel comfortable doing that.
When you say beliefs, do you mean core values or do you mean religion?
Core values, religion, and core values, I guess. Of course, like everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and their own preferences. That's just my preference,
And obviously, we're hearing a mixed bag. There's two answers you've given that we normally hear. That's one of them, i.e. it goes against my beliefs or it goes against my preferences. Sometimes religion's involved. If you would unpack that for us. So you've answered similarly to how I would respond if I was asked the question, because I'm heterosexual. And so I wouldn't date a biological male because I'm heterosexual. Would you expand on why you wouldn't date a trans woman, so a biological male?
I wouldn't date. Well, firstly, dating is not actually something I would do. I'd go straight into marriage rather.
Sure. Let me rephrase then. Would you marry a trans woman?
Would I marry a trans woman? No.
Why?
I wouldn't do that because in my beliefs and my core values, like sexual relations are supposed to be between men, biological men, and biological women.
Would you date a trans woman?
It depends on the emotional connection. Because I don't know, if it was for just the experience, I think I need experience to be 100% sure, but in the future aspect of having a family which I is interested in, I would like to experience it, but I'm not sure if I would like to.
I would like to experience it. Wow. These people are weird, bro. These some weirdos, dog. Come on.
Build a future with that person.
Great. Would you date a trans woman?
Nah, over religious beliefs, because I've got my wife anyways, so.
Oh, okay, so I'll rephrase. If you were single,
Yeah.
if you weren't married, sorry.
Nah. Not any. I ain't got anything against them. I ain't got anything. They can be free wherever they like. But for religious aspects, because my religion don't follow that, and I strictly abide by that. That's why.
So when we talk about it, so the way that I define a trans woman is a biological male.
Yeah.
So when you say you wouldn't date a trans woman, is there a reason why you wouldn't? You say it's for religious beliefs, which a lot of people say.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you date a trans woman?
Just for religious beliefs, to be honest. Yeah,
Anything specific about that? I won't
Nah.
presume your religion. So anything specific?
I mean, you're also straight, right? You should say that because I'm straight, right? I don't like dudes.
No, it's not just that. But look, at the end of the day, I'm not saying it's wrong, but
that's exactly what you're saying. That's what you're saying when you cite religion. You're saying that it's wrong, right? That's what you're saying when you cite religion.
no way. When you're born with a gender identity, male or female, right? And when you die on your paper, it will either be female or male. At the end of the day, it's just the in-between talks that come up as like transgender, gay, bisexual. I'm not saying anything is wrong with that either.
No, you're entitled to your opinion.
I'm just, even if I'm entitled, I'm just saying there's nothing wrong with that. But still, like, you just gotta see it in a way. That's how I see it from my own perspective. You die as a male or female, and you are born a male or female at the end of the day. So either way, it takes a man and a woman to procreate to make more children, more society.
You wouldn't date a biological male?
No.
Because you are not homosexual?
Yeah.
Okay.
Transsexual.
Sure. No, I'm just deconstructing what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm heterosexual, man. I'm straight. But other than that, no issues with transgenders. But that's my personal belief.
Sure. Thanks for that, mate.
Have a wonderful day. So.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, my guy wasn't asking the right questions. Okay, you gotta ask these guys. Do you consider yourself to be gay? Right? If you would date a trans woman, okay, do you consider yourself to be? That would be a more interesting conversation, okay? Because a lot of people are saying it's not, right? It's not. You can date a trans woman and, you know, it's not gay because they're actually a woman or whatever. Fascinating world that we live in. It's not just the United States. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.